Alright everyone, we start off today, of course, talking about the Nuclearsecrets hoax, which appears to be what it is, how it's completely fallen flat, which was predictable because it never had any bearing on reality. Of course, in the wake of the Mar-a-Lago raid, we have a lot of updates about that, but I'm going to save that basically for the live stream that I'll do later, so make sure to tune in either on YouTube or on Rumble. I'll probably be bringing Odyssey back aboard soon, since I did get banned from Twitch. They never gave me an actual reason why. Apparently I'm a harmful misinfo actor, according to their standards, which is goddamn hilarious. Anyway, one of the big things that we saw over the last few days was the claim, and this was initially from the Washington Post, that Donald Trump, some of the documents that had been taken from the Mar-a-Lago were nuclear in nature. People made a meme about this being literally the nuclear codes, which, by the way, would literally mean nothing. The nuclear codes are not recycled from presidency to presidency and change quite often, so I don't even know that it would be particularly classified at some point. Of course, Donald Trump and his legal team are effectively stating everything that was there was already declassified. It's going to be really difficult to prove that that's not the case, since the standard for declassification is effectively just that he talked about it with someone that didn't have clearance, which means he can say, oh, it was a closed-door meeting. Yeah, I talked about all these documents for hours and hours. I mentioned them all. Or go there declassified. Go fuck yourself. They're now also claiming attorney-client privilege over some of the materials there. Whoops, that could be a real big problem for the FBI. Just to be clear, it's going to become a legal catch-22 whether or not charges are actually filed. And whether they're filed or not and don't end up dropped and kicked out of court would also remain to be seen. But the never-trumpers, in my opinion, what's hampering them in using this for propagandistic purposes, and it is propaganda, is that they cried wolf simply too many times. They did it many times before. Trump had Russian hookers pissing on the Obama's bed. Trump gave shit to the Russians. The Trump campaign was influenced by the Russians. Saudi Arabia, all of these different things. I think they've pivoted now to saying that Kushner did business with the Saudis and embezzled billions or something like that. I guess that's their new line of attack, because the Nuclearsecrets one has basically already worn off. The first line of attack was simply, oh my god, the Mar-a-Lago was raided. Well, clearly Trump is done for this time, because he wouldn't have gotten raided unless there were overwhelming evidence. It's not really the way that it works in a highly politically charged environment when you're talking about someone who has already suffered 5 years of witch hunts prior, well 6 now, but we'll get past that. That was retired because people said, well, okay, Trump's being persecuted again. Alright, what else is new? The sun is shining. The sky is blue, or blue-ish, unless you're in Shanghai. They weren't taken in by it. The next one was, well, Trump has the warrant. He would release it if he were innocent. And Trump released it. He leaked it to Breitbart, causing outrage because he didn't redact the names of several of the agents involved. The Attorney General's office, of course, separately releasing the same warrant in, I believe, redacted form. I think there was a reason that Trump chose not to. So they went past that, and that's all in a span of 48 hours. Next, you got a hit piece from the WAPO almost instantaneously, and the timing there, I claim, was not coincidental, saying, well, some of the materials, according to someone familiar with the matter, according to an anonymous source who could be literally our fucking ass, says that some of those documents pertain to nuclear secrets. This was almost immediately not only Astroturfed across the Twitter sphere, Reddit, everything else, YouTube, but people took nuclear secrets, which could mean basically anything under the sun. It could be a second-hand conversation about nuclear power plants, for all anyone knows, and that's assuming that the tale is even true, and I have my doubts. They extrapolated that to mean that Trump had a list of nuclear codes and was selling them to the Russians or to the Saudi Arabians. You see how the extrapolation built and built, because these people are not playing with a full deck. The problem is that they believe that Orange Man bad. Within their echo chamber, they believe that any claim made about Trump, therefore, that is negative is automatically true. What you get is a situation, it's rather unfortunate. The leftoids try to one-up one another in order to stoke more outrage to get more clickbait, to get more people to follow them on Twitter and read their Medium articles and to listen to their podcasts, their shitty podcasts and so forth. So one thing leads to another. First, it's the Mar-a-Lago is raided. Then it was nuclear secrets. Then it was specifically nuclear codes. And then all of a sudden Trump was selling the nuclear codes to foreign competitors, leading to a situation in which it just spirals around the toilet. The problem is that no other leftoid is going to fact-check any of their contemporaries on these issues. Once it has been one up to the next level, nobody dares speak out against it for fear of being called Trump positive. Oh my God, you're defending Orange Man? Oh my God, how dare you do so? You must be a racist Trumpanzee and stuff. If you're a leftoid commentator, you're not going to do that. It's beyond your pay grade to have any sort of ethical standards or do any form of fact-checking. That's why you're a leftoid. So they've cried wolf so many times that people like myself, when we look at this, I don't trust the FBI at its word because, you know, you can actually Google a list of FBI controversies anytime you want to. You don't even need to go beyond the heavily controlled surface web to find out all the crazy shit that they've done. Waco comes to mind. I don't trust them. I don't trust Merrick Garland. He has a political reason why he would want to go after Trump, so I really don't care about what he says. Let's look at the evidence for what it really is. The Mar-a-Lago was raided. You have a claim that there were top secret documents there, but there's no proof of that. Again, it appears that these particular documents were already open to these investigators anyway. If that's the case, you didn't need the raid. If that's how they established that there was classified material there, you didn't need it. Then we find out, of course, that Trump's like, well, you know, I've got a standing order of declassification for all of these documents anyway. Yeah, they were classified. It doesn't matter what's in these boxes because I declassified them. In a court of law, the burden of proof is going to be on Merrick Garland and others to prove that he didn't. He has the presumption of innocence as a private citizen in such matters. If he says, I declassified this by discussing it with some former general, with a foreign dignitary, and that is possible, it could be foreign individuals as well, with anyone, literally under the sun, it doesn't matter what Merrick Garland says. Effectively, he has to show that it never was discussed outside of the realm of people with clearance, within the context of his presidency. Well, you can't prove a negative, now can you? It's going to be a little bit difficult. It's going to be problematic. They will probably attempt to counter by simply invoking the fact that it's top secret, even though it's going to be claimed that it's not top secret because it was declassified if they go forward with a case. So they will say effectively to the jury or whatever, well, we know that it wasn't declassified, but we can't tell you exactly what wasn't declassified because it wasn't declassified, ergo we can't release it for the court's purposes because it's top secret. It's going to be a witch hunt if they do that. If they do charge Trump, it is an attempt to get him off the campaign trail because they're afraid of him, just to be clear. There is no legitimacy whatsoever to this raid. The entire story is falling apart and has been for days. And the Nuclearsecrets Astroturf aged the most poorly of all. Well, technically speaking, he would release the warrant one aged the most poorly because it was the quickest to be retired the second that he released it. But as soon as the Nuclearsecrets Astroturf came forward, sane people said, well, the Washington Post. Aren't they known for also breaking stories with regards to Russiagate that were later discredited because of the Steele dossier? Oh yeah, and there's that whole problem of the agents on the case being tied to that and being literally under investigation by Durham at the moment for his probe. Yeah, there's no conflict of interest there. The whole thing stinks to high hell. It's beginning to fall apart. And it's really, really funny to see these people get ahead of themselves. You've got some of them calling for Trump to be executed. You had a former CIA director calling for that effectively the other day on the legacy media. Is there going to be any form of repercussion for people who are saying these things? I mean, it's rhetorical. I know that they won't face any repercussions, but you people are nuts, to tell the truth. That's about all. Peace out.